So this is definitely not the video I thought I would be making today. And even now, I am a little unsure how to approach this and what to say, but I just feel like I need to put my heart out there and love and serve my clients as well as other couples going through a really hard decision and a really hard time right now. Nobody thought when they planned their wedding a year ago or set the date for their wedding that they were going to be faced with a national crisis and the need to postpone their wedding in order to, one, abide by some nation and government laws, and also to keep people safe. So right now, I really am coming from a place of overwhelm from my own business and also just really true sadness for my couples and wanting to be the best support and the best help and just wanting them to know that I am there for them. Obviously, we are all going through some sort of heartache and pain as we all go through this transition and just this weird phase that we all have to be in. I feel like it's an unprecedented requirement that's been asked of us for many generations, and this is something super new to us, and it's really can be difficult. I know that I have felt lonely. I felt alone in the things that I'm struggling with. I have felt a lot of overwhelm. I have felt like things are out of control. And as I've been thinking about that, I know that I'm not alone in these things. And so I just wanted to offer a few thoughts that came to my mind on how I can, one, feel like I do have control over some things, and also just seeking peace during this time. I want my couples, most of all, to know that not getting married is super hard. It's super hard. But more than that, not being with each other would be harder. And so for that reason, I'm so glad that you still have each other, that you still have your one that you know you're going to be with and you know you're going to marry. It sucks that it's going to be longer than both of you thought, but you do still have each other. So I want, above all, for my couples and for any of us in this situation to remember that we do still have friends and family that care about us and love us. And that actually leads me to my first suggestion is that while social distancing has been asked of us, it is only meant in a physical distance only. I hope none of us are truly isolating ourselves in every sense of the word. How grateful I am that we have technology, that we have Marco Polo and Skype and FaceTime and Zoom conferences. The other day, all 12 plus of our nieces and nephews got on a Zoom conference, and there were 4 different households from 3 different states, and we all just played games together and chatted with each other, and we were there for each other. So I hope that your social distancing is a physical distance only, and that you take advantage of other ways that you can still communicate with people in your life. And maybe that also means writing an email or making a phone call to somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, or even a good old-fashioned letter. I will remind you that there is still so much good in the world, still so much for you to fight for, and that you're genuinely not alone in this crazy situation that we're all in, and also that this won't last forever. Number 2 is to spend time journaling, and I actually recommend this to all of my couples, even when we're not in a national crisis, because there's something so special about writing down your thoughts and your feelings during this time in your lives before you get married. That's not only special to remember now, but special to remember years after the wedding date, to reflect on your relationship, how much it's grown, how you've changed together. And I think that especially during this hard time, you guys will see that you've already weathered storms together, that you've already overcome challenges, and that was before you were even married. And I know that having that written down and able to look on later on in life will provide you guys with hope during difficult times in years later on. And in addition to that, journaling is just a great way for you to practice gratitude. It's a stress reliever, and it just really helps you to put things into perspective. Times may get harder before they get better, and being able to reflect on that later will give you the strength that you need and the reminder that you can do hard things together and on your own as well. Number 3, be outside as much as you can. I know for some people, if you're in an apartment complex or you don't have a yard space, this might be harder for you, but hopefully you at least have like a little balcony or a porch. I hope that everybody gets some sort of outside time and exposure because we're trying to give ourselves every single one of us as much of a chance of fighting and getting over this disease as possible and not even catching it to begin with. And sunshine and fresh air does our body so much good, especially when we all have been asked to be cooped up most of the time. Being outside always helps my mood and helps alleviate any stress and anxiety, especially when I have kids at home. It just really helps their moods as well. They don't fight as much when they're outside. And I can tell that it helps their mood. So if I can see that in them, I know that it's doing the same thing for me. Sometimes I like to go out early in the morning and just purposely get a little chill. Sometimes I like to go outside when it's raining just to feel raindrops on my head and my skin, just to have that sensation of being outside and being in nature. I love to be by the water. If something like that is possible for you, try to pick a time of day where nobody else are going to be out on the path or on a hiking trail and just take advantage of being able to breathe in fresh air. Number 4, this one's important for me, is to read, even if it's like just something fun and fluffy, a romantic book that just kind of takes you out of your own life and into somebody else's life for a moment. And sometimes you can even learn things about how to deal with your own problems by reading about how other people are dealing with their problems. Even if it's a fictional character, it can still give you perspective. Or just take this time to read about something that you've always wanted to learn about but never made time for it. Number 5 is to meditate, and this can come in a lot of different forms for different people. So maybe you already have some sort of meditation program that you like to follow, whether that be early morning before you get started on your day. For some people, they like to meditate at night before they go to sleep. Just kind of test out what feels good for you. It could be just a few minutes of silence. Or for me, sometimes even running becomes a form of meditation because it's something repetitive. I'm outside by myself, and I usually have like headphones in so I can just zone out. I also have a resource that is called it's from 10% Happier, and they called it the Corona Sanity Guide. So if you just Google that, they have a ton of resources on there. They have podcasts, they have meditation guides, and just articles that you can read about meditating and different ways to do that. And like I mentioned before with meditating, the next one that I would want to mention is making sure that you exercise. For me, I used to have so I like to run. And I used to have this like standard in my mind that I had to run X amount of miles in X amount of time, or it wasn't worth it. And that just became really stressful on me. And since then, I have just said it doesn't matter how far I run, as long as I get the 30 minutes of recommended exercise 5 days a week. And that freed my mind a lot, because that could mean anything. That could mean going on a hike with my family. That could mean a run, but if I'm with my kids and they're riding their bike, as long as I'm still moving for 30 minutes, it doesn't matter how far I get. And that took a lot of pressure off of me. And I just know that exercise is such a huge form of stress relief and gives your body the endorphins that it needs. So make sure you are getting some form of exercise, even if it's just doing a little DVD in your house or something, because I know the gyms are closed, so don't go to the gym. But find another way to exercise and be moving your body. And then the last one that I want to say is to unplug. And I know that it can be super tempting to just gorge on Netflix while we have this time. But I really think we can do better than that. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing to spend time watching TV. I think that that can be great, but I also want us to really take advantage of this time that we've been asked to take to have downtime and do some of the other suggestions that I said, but also just realizing that having constant updates from social media and news outlets can be really draining and really disheartening, and actually have the opposite effect of what we think we're looking for when we log into social media. So making sure that you're putting away your phone at night, putting it on airplane mode, and then if you need to check it for the time throughout the night or when you wake up in the morning, you're not seeing notifications right away. That's not the first thing you see. You can decide when you take it off airplane mode when you're ready to see all the notifications come in. And also, either you can set aside one day a week to completely unplug, or maybe you just have designated hours during the day where you can give your eyes and your brain a break from the influx of information and even just the blue light. So, you guys, I hope that this gives you some ideas and also just gives us a chance to find hope in that we are all going through this. I was hesitant on what I should talk about this week, and a part of me wanted to just keep going with the plan. And but I, at the same time, I didn't want to pretend like this wasn't happening, especially for my couples, that this is really seriously affecting their lives and their hearts and their plans. And I didn't want to ignore that and just pretend like everything was fine and keep talking about how to plan a perfect wedding when sometimes perfect weddings don't come right away or in the way that we think they will. So reach out to me if you have any other thoughts. If you need a friend, I am on Marco Polo and I love Marco Polo. So if anybody needs a long distance friend, hit me up and stay healthy. And we're going to get through this. All will be well.